Good morning, students. So here is your very first math exercise for August 24th. And what we're going to do is review basic addition with 2 and 3 digits. Now, for some of you, this may be very familiar and very easy, but this book goes very fast and it advances very quickly to multiplication and fractions, and we just need to make sure that you're very, very good at adding and subtracting multiple digits before we move on. So here in this book, every page is going to have 4 review exercises and speed drills. So for the speed drills, what you're going to do is start with 2 in the middle. And on the top, you're going to add 2 to each of these numbers and put the answer around the circle. So it would be, for example, 2 plus 9 is 11, so you would put 11 here. 2 plus 5 is 7, so you would put 7 here. Then down here is multiplication. So you do the same thing, but multiplying. So for example, 2 times 5 is 10, so you would put 10 here. For the following days, you would just increase the number by 1. So since today is 2, tomorrow will be 3, and we go all the way up until 9, and then we start at 2 again. And this is just to warm up your brain before we start. So here for the review exercises, we have some pretty simple addition, but the most important part about this exercise is lining up our numbers correctly. So for numbers 1 and 2, for example, they're already lined up for you. And just remember to start from the right. So we'll just do this quick sample. We have 2 plus 7 is 9. 4 plus 2 is 6. And then 3. You are going to do this for all of these. But once we get here, for example, when you have 2 digits plus 3 digits, the most important thing to remember is to line up your numbers to the right. So I have an extra piece of paper here just to give you an example. So for number 8 here, we have 34 plus 216 plus 425. So notice that we moved all of the numbers to the right. This is correct. This is an example of the way to do it wrong. You would not do this. This would give you the wrong answer. So when you're adding, as long as all of your digits are moved all the way to the right, you'll be okay. So for this one's number 8. You would add these up together. 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 5 is 15. Remember to carry the 1. And then we have 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. And then 2 plus 4 is 6. Then another trick for number 10, it says find the sum of 16, 17, 12, and 18. So just a quick reminder that sum means the same as adding, just in case, and you're going to make sure that you stack these up nice and neat. Now on this side, you're going to see the answer column. So just beware. These 2 are sample questions, so these answers do not go in the answer column. Make sure that you're starting your answers with number 1 here. So your sample questions, the answers will be here, and for the rest of them, you can leave them on the page, but also make sure that they're in the answer column, because that makes it easier to grade. Now, as you can see, it's important that you use an extra piece of paper, like I did, to do your problems, and I would like for you to make sure that you submit that as well, because I want to see your work. That way, if I notice you have any questions wrong, I can take a look at your worksheet and identify any problems or where it went wrong, and that way I can help you better. So always make sure when you're doing your math that you don't throw away your extra piece of paper, because I definitely want to see that. Here we have our very first lesson of language arts. So you're going to turn to your language arts book on the first page where we start Unit 1, Verbs at Work. So we're going to be learning about subjects and predicates, and you may have learned a little bit about this in 4th grade, but we're going to review it and make sure we fully understand. So here for lesson 1, I'm going to read with you and you guys can read along with me. So it says, subjects and predicates, the sentence parts. When we speak or write, we use groups of words called sentences. A sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. It begins with a capital letter and ends with a period, a question mark, or an exclamation point. Sentences have complete thoughts and make sense because of the two parts in which are in every sentence, the subject and the predicate. The subject of a sentence tells who or what the sentence is about. The predicate of a sentence tells something about the subject. So make sure that you remember those key words. So here's an example sentence, and it says, the quick-witted shortstop threw the ball to home plate for the last out. Who or what is the sentence about? The quick-witted shortstop. That's who we're talking about. What does the sentence say about the quick-witted shortstop? He threw the ball to home plate for the last out. We will show the two parts of the sentence this way. The quick-witted shortstop, subject, threw the ball to home plate for the last out, predicate. You could write many sentences about this scene. Pick a who or what and tell something about it. So looking back at this example, you're just going to separate the who from the what with a line, and we'll have a few activities on the following page doing that. So here on page 3, we have Think A. And usually when we see think, it's because we're starting something new. Later on, you will see remember, and it will be something that we've already learned and are reviewing. So here for Think A, it says, study the underlined subject part of each sentence. And then 2, decide whether the subject tells who or what the sentence is about. So you're going to write either who or what in this blank. So we're only focusing on subjects right now. That means we're only going to focus on the underlined words. So for number 1, we have sweet oranges grow in Florida. All we have to do is determine whether sweet oranges is a who or a what. And I think we all know that sweet oranges is a what because we're talking about a thing. So you're just going to write what here. You're going to do the same with numbers 2 through 5, only identifying whether it is a who or a what, a person or a thing. Then for Think B, you're going to show your understanding of sentence parts. Draw a vertical line between the subject part and the predicate part. Put S over the subject and P over the predicate. The first one is done for you. So here for number 1, we're going to read the sentence completely first, and it says, gentle waves lapped against the sides of the boat. So here for the sample, it is divided between waves and lapped, because gentle waves is what we're talking about, the subject, and the predicate lapped against the sides of the boat. You're going to do the same for numbers 2 through 6, but I'm going to go ahead and do number 2 also as a practice. It says, the onion soup was covered with mozzarella cheese. So as long as we determine what or who we're talking about, the rest is easy. So what are we talking about here? The onion soup. So you would draw a vertical line after onion soup and write an S because that is the subject. That means everything after is the predicate. Now down here for write C, it says to write the missing subject or predicate parts in the following sentences. So for this, you're going to use your own creativity. You're going to make up words. So there isn't really a right or wrong answer as long as you're writing the correct subject and predicate. So for number 1, it's blank is an exciting book. So you can pick any of your favorite books and just write the name here. For number 2, my parents and I blank. It already has a subject there, so you can fill it in with any activity that you want. And here for page 4, which is our last language page of the day, it's mostly just information and a review that we're going to be going back to often as we review verbs. So all of this is about action words or verbs. So you're going to go ahead and read this explanation, this poem, and then keep this in mind, which are the 8 parts of speech. So we are on verbs. Later on, we'll be going to nouns, then pronouns, then adjectives, then adverbs, then prepositions, then conjunctions, and then interjections. But for this week, we're focusing completely on verbs, which are words that mean action. And here it says, the words in our language have 8 different names. We call them the 8 parts of speech. We are going to begin studying the parts of speech by learning about the most important word in a sentence, the verb. Every sentence has a verb. It is found in the predicate part of the sentence. Look for a word that shows action and you will find the verb. The underlined words in this poem are verbs. 2 verbs were not underlined. See if you can find them. So what you're going to do is read this little poem. Notice that a lot of these verbs are underlined, but you're going to find the 2 that are hidden, that aren't underlined, and go ahead and underline them. Then on the bottom, you will write how many verbs are in the poem. So that means all of them, the ones that are underlined plus the 2 that you find. And then who or what is doing all of these actions. So in this poem, what is doing all of this? And what 2 verbs did you have to underline? So here you would write the 2 hidden verbs that you found in the poem. So here for spelling, we have our new spelling book, and this is one of my favorite books for 5th grade. And along with this book, you're going to be using Spelling City. And I will send you the login information. And on Spelling City, you will find all of your lists, and you can play games and do activities. And for now, Spelling City will have just a few games available, but in a few weeks we will have all of the games available. So you will just look for list 1 on spellingcity.com this week, and you will complete this page for today only. So here are our pattern words, our content words, and our vocabulary words. And for 5th grade, I normally focus on the pattern words every week. So when you start doing quizzes, which eventually you will be doing them on Spelling City, you will be focusing on these first 12 words. And then content words, you will usually write the meanings, sentences, or definitions. And then vocabulary words, there's always 4 of them. And we focus on those on the 3rd day of the week. So for today, you're going to focus just on page 1 and mostly on these. And our pattern words are chili, value, humble, pattern, shelving, volumes, whisper, common, separate, puppetry, headache, and magazines. For our content words, we have granite, erosion, summit, igneous, sediment, mountains, snow-capped. And for our vocabulary words, fragile, fragment, deposit, and expose. So here we're going to focus on the vowel sounds, and we learn our vowel sounds in kindergarten and first grade, but we still use them as we read all throughout school. So it says to write our pattern words to complete the sentences, sort the words by the short vowel sound heard in the first syllable. So that means the first vowel in these words. So for numbers 1 through 3, you're going to find the words with a short A sound. That means an ah sound. And remember that the numbers go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Because often we tend to write down as a list and we'll get them wrong. So make sure that for numbers 1 through 3, the first one goes here, then here, then here. So let's find one short A sound. Chili does not even have an A. Value. Yes, that is a short A sound. So you would write value here. The same for number 2 and 3. Let's do one more. Humble, nope. Pattern, yes, pattern. You would write pattern for number 2. Then, once we're done with 1 through 3, you'll find number 3 on your own. We'll go to numbers 4 through 6, finding words with a short E sound, eh. If we go down to shelving, that is a short E sound. That means we would write shelving for number 4, and then find 2 more with a short E sound. Then 7 through 8 with a short I, 9 through 10 short O, and 11 through 12 with a short U. So all of these will have a place in number 1 through 12. Here for content words, they always give you one letter to hint, but it's not always right if they have more than one. So here, for example, you have S, S, and S. So you have to make sure that you understand what the word means to get them right, because we have 3 S words here. So we can't just use the letter as a clue only. So we're filling in the sentences starting with 13. The top or blank of Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, is over 29,000 feet above sea level. So we're going to go to content words and find our S words, because we know it starts with an S. And we have summit, sediment, and snow-capped. Now, if you don't understand what these words mean or you're unsure, you're going to go to your glossary. So let's look up summit at first. So you're going to the back. We have our glossary, or our little dictionary that pertains to our book, and we're going to find summit. Let's see, right here. Summit, the highest point, top. Many people have tried to climb to the summit of Mount Everest. Let's see if that makes sense. So it says, the top or summit of Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world. Yes, if summit means the very top, then we know we write summit here. So you will use the first letter as your first clue, and then fill in the correct word using the glossary in the back if necessary. This page does not use our vocabulary words just yet.